Oh, hello folks. I should probably turn the television off, but today we're making ragu of lamb to go with our delicious handmade pasta. I've rinsed, this is a boneless leg of lamb, and we want to make it dry so that we can get a good browning on it. I have the oven preheating to 325. There are many ways to make ragu, and they come from different countries. I'm going to attempt to do the long and slow cooking method. Can you see that? Yeah. Because that's how I've loved it before. This is a 3-pound piece of lamb. We're gonna salt it. We're gonna season it with salt and pepper. And I'm leaving the fat on. That will add to the flavor. I have to find my pepper. Here it is. And I need to turn up my heat on my Dutch oven so that we can sear it on all sides. If I were doing this as a roast, I would tie it up, I would truss it up. But because the intent here is to have it, I probably put too much pepper on. Oh well, you can imagine that I'm sprinkling lightly. And I'll do the same with some more salt. I think I put too much salt on the other side, so I won't put very much on that side. We're going to put in quite a bit of olive oil into the Dutch oven here. Probably a quarter of a cup. And let that heat up. And then we're going to, well, sear is not quite the right word. I'd say browning it is the right way to go. So I have all the fans on. Well, I'll turn that off. I wanted to mention that I used too much oil. A quarter of a cup is ridiculous. So I poured half of it out, and that gave me maybe 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I also wanted to mention that if my preference would have been to use a lamb shoulder, not a lamb leg, but that's all I could get in my village. And, so that timer just shows me that the heat in the oven is at temperature at 325, which is quite low. I also am not touching the meat. I'm leaving it untouched for 3 minutes. I have another minute and a half to go. Then I'll turn it, because otherwise you're not going to get the crust. People call it caramelization, but that's not actually what it is, since there's not really any sugar in meat. So you can't produce caramel that way. Well, now it's ready to turn when it doesn't stick any longer. People who worked with these Dutch ovens know that you have to use a glove. In about 30 seconds, I'll turn it. And then I will check out, I'll do the same for the sides if I can. And then I will take it out and let it rest here while I cook the accompaniment. Okay, 15 seconds. Let's turn it. Okay. That's the timer for 3 minutes. I'm going to time it again. 3 more minutes. You don't really have to use the timer, but I find it helps. But I've got a nice crust on the fatty side, and now I want to get a crust on the bottom side, and I think I'm going to try it for the sides that aren't getting that aren't touching the bottom right now. Okay, folks, I turned the fan off so you could hear me. I feel like this is done. I did do a third turn, and we just want to see what it looks like. Oh yes, see that brownness? That's exactly what you want. Got to turn this temperature down now, the cooking temperature. This is what you want. You want a little bit of crust, and you've got it on all sides. And we're going to put in now 2 whole Spanish onions, roughly chopped. Let's get this going here. Chop that. I think I need a spoon. So I'm gonna use the lamb fat and the olive oil to get these things cooked, not entirely through, but just browned. And that should take about 5 minutes. There's no reason to temp this because it's going to be cooking for the next 4 hours. I didn't mention that, but that's why I'm starting so early in the evening, trying to get it all done. And I turned it down a little too far, but you just keep stirring like that. I don't think that I need to cook it for 5 minutes, but I'll get back to you in 3. You'll notice I didn't add salt, a little more salt to the onions to perform the miracle of osmosis, and that's because I know I put too much salt on the lamb itself. You can always add seasoning, you can't take it away. So we can always adjust that later. These onions appear to have cooked down to a slightly brownish color quite quickly. So now I'm going to add 5 cloves of garlic, which I sliced thinly. Ow, that's hot. I'm gonna add that. And because it's lamb, I'm going to add rosemary. And the whole stalk is fine because we can pick that out later. 2 sprigs, 2 big sprigs. Ow! And the cremini mushrooms. This is half a pound. You could use a pound. That, you know, it all ends up becoming kind of part of the sauce. And I'm using large ones, cut in 1/4 inch thick slices. And we have to cook this down for about 3 minutes. But the smell is now gorgeous because of that. Oh my gosh. Rosemary. I love you, rosemary. Okay, it looks and smells delicious. It's a combo of, I guess people call the flavor of mushrooms umami now, which is fine by me. And I didn't add any additional salt, which is fine by me, but we have quite a lot of lovely flavor from the garlic and the rosemary. So next goes in a full can of whole plum tomatoes with the juice. I'm gonna turn this up again because the heat just went down. And I'm going to use a kind of stronger method to chop up these tomatoes. They will reduce on their own, but remember, this will be cooking with a lid on, so it's important to like just get the juice out of the tomato before they go in the oven. I want the juice to come out. And the pièce de la résistance is going to be the 2 cups of red wine. And I'm using Tempranillo Merlot blend from Spain because Spain makes excellent wine and it's not very expensive. Okay, 2 cups. That leaves me a little for later. And this needs to be brought to a boil before we put the meat back in. And that's giving it, I don't know if you can see the color, but that's going to give you some idea of what the final color will look like. Okay, back to my station. So this is hot. Let's keep stirring. I want to get it to a boil fast so that you can see it without me meandering. So I'm turning it up to high. And at this stage, obviously, I don't need the fan on. I can hear it. The sound of bubbling. I'm not worried about the bottom because there's so much liquid in here. That can of tomatoes was 28 fluid ounces, and then there were 2 cups of red wine. Okay, it's boiling. Well, it's starting to simmer. It's not boiling. You don't need a boil. Okay, so we're gonna take the meat and put it back in the pan. And we're gonna use a spoon to make sure that the meat is covered. Let the mushrooms do as they may. And then we're going to cover this and cook it in the oven for 4 hours. That's how you deal with tough meat like legs, shanks, and my preferred shoulder. And oh, there's something hot in there. That was a surprise. Anyway, so I put it in here and set the timer for 4 hours. And I'll see you then. I'll probably be watching a movie. All right, I'm turning that down. We've got the Ragu here. It's out of the oven. And we have to just get it all mixed up like that. And get the shoulder. Of course, it's been tenderized by the wine and the long cooking. So now we're gonna just stir it up and make it, you know, kind of wonderful. It's going to be extremely hot. I have to take it off the heat, and I need to boil my water. And the water was boiling, until the previous video where the timer went off and decided to shut down my video. So I put it back up to top, get that going. We've got our mushrooms and our ragu. I won't use my hands because I will burn them. I've got to get this up to boiling temperature again. You need a lot of water. I have 8 portions of handmade pasta. I'm going to use 4 of them, and I'm going to use half the ragu. In the meantime, I'm going to chiffonade some mint. So we take our pieces of mint leaves like this and keep the stems out. And we're going to chiffonade while this water gets boiling. Oh, the water's boiling. I can't show you the chiffonade because I don't have the right space. So what you do is you roll it up and you chop it up. So we have the water boiling. I'm going to use a quarter cup of salt. We're going to place one of these and at a time, 1 portion of handmade pasta. We're going to stir it, and when it comes to, you know, since this is fresh pasta, once it comes to the top, you know it's ready. Therefore, I need to get this ragu ready in a pan. Like I said, I have 4 portions. Looks almost cooked. I have 4 portions here of pasta, and I need to get the juice out. And we're going to switch this around. Hold on while I do that. Get that really hot. And these are already, they're at the top. They needed around 30 seconds. And we're gonna put them into the ragu. And you'll see how beautiful that is. Add it to the ragu. Let the water be included, since it's, I can't get, okay, we don't need it all the way up. We need our water up. I'm not gonna throw this water out because I might need it. Here's this. And then I'm going to make a beautiful mix of the ragu. I used to have some tongs. I don't know where they are. Where are the tongs? Oh yes. So that's gonna keep cooking. I'm turning this down to low. So I'm turning it off actually. So we're gonna see how amazingly delicate that is. And we're gonna put it on. We're gonna do a chiffonade. Throw it in there like that, because lamb loves mint. It smells really good. I think the seasoning is perfect. Then I'll plate it and send you a picture.